What do they have here?
Because he was passing information from the MF. What information were you passing on? The location where the Chapos were.
Being an ally of the most powerful drug lords can give you all the luxuries you've always dreamed of. Houses, cars, respect or fear from the rest of the people. But what happens when those drug members consider you a traitor or a snitch? Well, the punishment can be brutal, and this could have happened to Pinky on Friday, January 3rd in his hometown Culiacán. And I say it could because in the end, only they know what really happened. However, Culiacán today is an endless war zone between two rival groups, the hat guys and the pizza guys. But the YouTuber and influencer, who was only 22 years old, had a list of dreams and goals to achieve and felt that 2025 would be his year. However, he ran head-on into the fury of the bad guys who only saw him as a nuisance and gave him the worst of endings. What did they do to Pinky? Well, let me tell you about it. Before we go to the fateful day of the events, let's talk about who Pinky was and why he ended up in the eye of the storm. Before being known as Agustin Paul, he dreamed of becoming a successful YouTuber and making a living from it like many other Mexican youth. Sometime before becoming part of the channel that led him to fame, he created another channel called Paul Locuras in 2021. However, things did not work out as he had hoped, and for a moment, he thought that the best thing would be to throw in the towel. But at that moment, in distress, the young man met two YouTubers who would change his course, Gabi Soto Jr. and Compatali, who invited him to participate in their channel, Los Plebes de Barrancos. Pinky caught the attention of the subscribers, above all others, thanks to his unique humor and his witticisms, which made the channel's followers laugh. The boy gained fame, amassing 98,000 subscribers by participating in challenges with colleagues, friends, and family. While many might think that the young man was making some kind of humor related to the drug trade and that this led to his end, the truth is that his content did not refer to organized crime, but it attracted the attention of the wrong people.
Have they ever offered you, dude, a job as a hitman or something?
As a hitman? As a pointer, dude.
Well, it does seem like it. That's for real.
No, if it's the pointer, that's what it's called. Yes.
How was that?
Oh, I know 2 or 3 who do. They have a position in that thing, and a guy ran them off because he didn't want to work anymore. They were searching for workers here and informed me, but I declined, as I tend to make mistakes.
In his last video uploaded to TikTok, the same day he lost his life or it was taken from him, he is seen dancing and smiling with a phrase that says, "Why is everyone talking about February 14th? Will groceries be distributed on that day?" Surprisingly, this individual managed to reach over 8 million views after the crime. Mostly it was curious users who wanted to know who Pinky was and if there was any hint in that post about the causes of his death. The message box in turn filled up with comments. Some, because you know how this works, of the networks mocking his horrendous end, but many others saying goodbye in good faith to a person who had made them laugh on more than one occasion in his last post on Instagram. On January 2nd, Pinky spoke about the past year and what 2025 brought for him. In his own words, the young man had ended his year in a good way, and although there were some stumbles, he managed to distance himself from bad people and met amazing people with the same desire to grow. If Pinky had distanced himself from dangerous people and his 2025 promised to be a great year, then the million-dollar question here is, how did it end up this way? Well, no one could understand how the comedian had met such a brutal, violent end, which contrasted greatly with the funny and carefree character in his videos.
What do you prefer, a bullet in the leg or 20 beatings?
A bullet in the leg?
But going back to the day of the events, hours after he posted that last TikTok, a plane flew over the streets of Culiacán dropping leaflets showing the faces of 25 musicians, artists, and content creators. The paper claimed that these people allegedly had ties to the pizza cartel and were marked as alleged collaborators of the criminal group. At the same time as this rain of accusations fell from the sky, Agustin's body was found on the side of the Benito Juarez bypass near the New York motel. The young man was bound hand and foot with his torso unclothed, and he also had marks of suffering all over his body. He had been given the wooden pajamas from a gunshot to the head. By the time the authorities arrived, he was beyond help. Sadly for the inhabitants and merchants of the city, it was no surprise to find another young man dismembered in the middle of the street. It has become the daily norm since the armed conflict began in September of the year 2024. So, just by looking at the way Pinky's body lay on the sidewalk, it wasn't hard to conclude who had ended his life. It had the mark of the mafia. At the same time, a video that began circulating on social media confirmed the suspicions. In the images, Pinky was seen tied up and hurt, with clear signs of suffering on his face, looking at the camera while his captors asked him a series of questions about his relationship with the enemies.
What things did they ask you to do?
To go wherever if I knew where it was taking place.
The crew
Of the Chapos to tell everyone and look at whoever passed by to tell him.
"Why are you here?" a person behind the camera asks him, to which he responds by passing information to MF, referring, well, you know to which crime character. "What information were you passing?" The interrogation continues, to which this guy responds that he was passing them the location where the pizza guys were hiding, that is, the rivals of the hat guys. In addition, Pinky revealed that for that job, they promised him cars, houses, and that they were going to help him improve his life, but they never kept their words.
What did they promise you, or how much did they give you? They promised me cars, a house, that they were going to help me out. Not a nickel ever came.
In the end, his captors allowed him to say a few words that would sadly be the last before they cruelly dismembered him.
No? Don't be swayed by what they say they will fulfill, Cleveland.
While the death of this character occurred at the same time as the flyers were being distributed from a plane, as I was telling you earlier, neither the name nor the face of the YouTuber appeared on those pamphlets. However, the authorities believe there was a relationship between both events, and perhaps Pinky was related to one of those men pointed out for having connections.
What else did they ask you to do?
To walk around at night and be able to locate the Chapos?
What other things did you do for them? What else did you do for them?
Nothing more than that. I was just passing information.
Thus, the named artists were accused of having contact with one of the two factions seeking control of the square in central Sinaloa, led by... we're not going to go into details. But in addition, they were accused of being arrogant, frontmen, bullies, hallucinations, violent, financiers, close collaborators, and money launderers, and of allegedly financing a certain group.
Just yesterday, in various areas of Culiacán, a flyer began to circulate with images and names of characters, celebrities, singers, influencers, etc., who are accused of being collaborators of the... Among these, characters like Featherweight are pointed out.
Likewise, the flyers urge citizens to stay away from these figures and to stop consuming their material, as they are mostly, indeed, content creators. It is important to highlight at this point that 4 of those mentioned in the brochures were marked as eliminated because they had already taken care of making them disappear. These are Juan Carlos alias El Chilango, Miguel Vivanco alias El Jasper, Adrian Antonio Lopez Iribe, brother of the also singer and content creator El Compa Camarón, and Leobardo Aispuro alias El Gordo Peruzzi.
As I tell you, it's not easy here in Culiacán, because if you look once, it's been days since they warned about removing or disconnecting cameras. One house had its cameras shot at.
Interestingly, this last one was devastated on the night of December 9th of the year 2024. He was a very close friend of Pinky who dedicated a post saying goodbye to him after his crime, which, by the way, you can find this video on my channel. However, the rivalry between these two groups resulted in the end of several very popular content creators, especially in Culiacán. It all started on October 19th when the TikToker Jose Carlos, known as El Chilango, was selling candies in front of a gas station and a bank branch in Culiacán. At that moment, 2 unidentified individuals on a motorcycle rained bullets on him, leaving the TikToker bleeding out on the median strip.
We're at your service, ready for chaos. And long live the boss, Joaquin El Chapo, you cowards. Only people from Ivano Chibaldo to the dam.
While on his TikTok profile, he shared with his followers some vlogs of his day-to-day life as a candy seller, mixing it with humor. In some of them, he claimed to be a sympathizer of a certain character and even appeared in videos alongside Marquitos Toys, also with images of dancing pizza slices alluding to the Goodman family, but his admiration and respect for them was not enough to escape his foretold end. But unfortunately, we cannot say that the list ended there, because a month later, in November, the crime of the 29-year-old influencer Miguel Vivanco, known as Hasper, occurred. His type of content was challenges and blogs. He was also part of the Toys for a while and had a close friendship with Marquitos, who is considered the narco-influencer of the Chapitos, who is considered the narco-influencer of a certain group. However, this friendship did him no good when he was reported missing by his family on November 21st. Unfortunately, just 3 days later, his own relatives found his body showing signs of suffering, blindfolded and handcuffed in a rural area between the towns of Quila and Costa Rica, south of Culiacán.
And we stay on the violence in Sinaloa because on Saturday they found the body of Miguel Vivanco, alias El Hasper, who was under investigation for distributing fentanyl in the United States for the Chapitos.
El Gordo Peruzzi, a 37-year-old YouTuber whose real name was Leobardo, had over 150,000 YouTube followers, 380,000 on Instagram, and 820,000 on TikTok. His content was focused on comedy and challenges. However, he also associated with the content creators known as the Toys.
But here in Culiacán, there was a rumor that they would remove their cameras or disconnect them so that they wouldn't be uploading videos. Even though I have never uploaded anything since all the chaos started here in Culiacán, since it stopped, I have never uploaded videos. I have not shared videos of any of that. I don't like it. Well, the same to not have any problem.
While Peruzzi enjoyed moderate fame, that did him no good when he suffered an attack along with his wife on the night of December 9th in the 21 de Marzo neighborhood south of Culiacán.
In that
moment, without any warning, heavily armed men broke into the house and took his life with lead. His wife was rushed to the hospital and spent several days in intensive care, but unfortunately, she also lost her life.
Which YouTubers from here in Culiacán would you like to hang out with, dude? With them more than anything out of all of them. With them. With the Toys.
Yes, with the Toys?
Why?
I didn't like how they are there. To go around there on the road without making such a fuss.
It is impossible. Also noteworthy is that all these eliminated influencers had a relationship with Marquitos Toys, and that this very thing could have led to his end. In fact, several channels and internet users started circulating the rumor that Marquitos Toys had revealed the reason why they obsessed over Pinky. The influencer apparently said that these types of crimes happen when there are many snitches in the middle. According to users, Marquitos would have mentioned that the pizza thing would have lashed out against the YouTuber, as he was allegedly revealing a lot of information about the movements of this group, complicating their situation in the battle against their rival group. However, at the time of recording this video, we do not know if this statement from Toys is true. Regardless, in the video of Pinky's suffering, his own tormentors accused him of being a traitor, implying that this was his grave mistake. But anyway, the current conflict in Sinaloa originated from the betrayal of some towards others, causing the organization to suffer internal conflicts and an irreparable fracture. The betrayal happened when some handed the other over to the Drug Enforcement Administration and Federal Bureau of Investigation on a runway at Santa Teresa Airport, a small town on the border between the United States and Mexico. From that moment, the children took control of the organization. However, not everyone agreed with them having the power. causing some of their members to side with El Mayo, transforming the Sinaloa Cartel into a series of autonomous groups fighting for territorial control in a citywide battle that now seems like a front of battle.
People suddenly get informed through WhatsApp channels and consume pictures of the dead like TikTok videos, always waiting for another one more, the next one.
According to the official figures from the Executive Secretary of the National Public Security System, since the beginning of this battle, in September of the year 2024, approximately 500 have occurred. But 2025 is not far behind. Pinky was just one more of a long list of lifeless people that up to this moment, just 2 weeks before the new year, has reached 45 people. Unfortunately, the momentary cessation of the festivities was only the eye of the hurricane, and it seems that fear and the lifeless still have a long stay in Sinaloa. But who will be the next influencer to be lifeless? Let's hope Pinky is the last of them, but we'll see what happens. You see, even the governor of that state says that nothing is happening in Sinaloa, that everything is fine, that they are at peace. But, well, that's another story.
What message do you want to leave for the youngsters?
Don't be swayed by things that supposedly will fulfill you. It's the real deal. Pure Chapo Guzman.